Yo, what up, YouTube? I got you with another video. You know, uh, it's crazy how, like, I think it's Kratom and, damn, I don't even know what the fuck I was gonna say. Let's try this again. Um, it's a beautiful day here in New York, and, I'm trying to get some fresh air. And, it was hitting me about, like, Kratom because being in a depressive state is crippling in a lot of ways, and that's like the anhedonia and all that shit. That's what causes us a lot of times to relapse. It's not even the pink cloud; it's the other part. Because when you feel like shit mentally, that's even harder than feeling like shit mentally. I mean physically. Because while you're going through withdrawal, man, like I know it, guys. Like I'm far removed from it, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't thinking about it. Like just for some mental break. But I know that it's false. So you don't want to use that. But because again, you also got to remember. Well, at least me. What I remember are those nights, and you don't think about it when you're not on it that much about how uncomfortable you are at night. What is it? Akathisia? I can't pronounce the medical term for it, but that's what you're flopping around all night and like why you can't get comfortable. As akathisia, I think it is. Yeah, akathisia. And you forget it when that's no longer an issue. Like, it's like Kratom is almost like a bad relationship where, like, you had an ex where you had like good times, but there's a reason that they're an ex. So you always like, if you are dumb enough to get back together, it's like, oh yeah, this is why I left this bitch. So Kratom's the same way. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, you forget the reason you left this shit behind, especially when you get some time under your belt. And it's important to remember that pain. It wasn't something nice to go through. It lingered. Like I could look at my videos, my damn self, but you can always see like even nights 5, night 6 even. I remember vividly this go around. I remember I was like trying to sleep on the floor. I was doing all kinds of shit just to try to get comfortable. Never did, And then you don't really sleep. You just kind of zone out a little bit. Like your body just shuts down for 40 minutes at a time. It's just very uncomfortable. And then don't forget about the water of your eyes. What else? Yeah, and just the overall feeling of like just not feeling yourself. Nothing's really enjoyable. So once you get some time under your belt, keep that in mind. Like it ain't worth that little temporary hit that you get from that shit. And it's just trash. It really is trash. It truly is a gas station heroin. And I heard about this new shit, 7-OH they're calling it, hydroxymitragynine or some shit. And they're saying like that's probably what's gonna get Kratom banned, because it's like too much like an opiate. That alone I wouldn't want to fuck with that at all. I don't really want to fuck with anything. And here's the other thing with Kratom, what I remember. And even with depressive thoughts and shit, it's very defeatist kind of attitude, You act like a little bitch, like, because you can't sleep or you're dealing with a higher level of discomfort. And trust me, I know it, but you can all get through it. Like, because we can make excuses as to why we can't. I've done that. We can make excuses why we should take it, why it won't be this bad, or I can manage it. And all that shit is just you making excuses to do something you know you're not supposed to do. You know. But again, the further this shit gets away from you, and the more you become yourself again, the only thing you're left with are all the bad decisions and regrets that you had while you was on the shit, and all the time and money wasted on something that's not even that fucking good. You know, it's not even that fucking good. Sorry. But yeah, as for me personally, it's like I'm not really worried about Kratom as much as it's like like the worst punishment. Like, they put the worst of the worst criminals in solitary confinement. And if you put a human being, don't matter who they are, you know, in an environment where they're just solitary, with no like real human, interaction and all that, motherfuckers would go insane. And that's how I was feeling for a long time. Because again, when I was doing research on this, like prolonged unemployment and everything, like there's so much mental that happens to you. Like it screws up your mental so much, like you don't even want to be around people. So you isolate because, there's embarrassment and you feel worthless and all this other kind of shit. But just like, money never made the man, it's the same thing with a job. The job don't define you. You are who you are regardless. And, the mindset you have to have is and then also, a man shouldn't be desperate for anything. So my thing is like, yo, fuck it. If they gonna hire a brother, then I'll find a way to make my own shit then, And so that's it. And so it starts with the gym, your activities, and just like I'm walking now, you just put one foot in front of the other. Don't even look up. Just keep looking at your feet. And then by the time you do look up, who knows where you'll end up. But for a time there, it was very dark, and I think I know the Kratom abuse impacted my thought process. Because like I said, it was like a double, triple whammy. So it's like, when you're at rock bottom, there's only one place to go. So I hold on to that. And instead of looking at, like, you can't make permanent decisions on temporary problems. You know what I'm saying? So even here, it's like, yeah, shit's fucked. I'll probably, again, I don't even know how to get a job now. Like, nobody, it's like, I'm overqualified for this, and I'm qualified for this, but there's like 600 applicants in one spot. You might as well be playing the Powerball. I think the world in general, economically, is going through a transition. And I'll tell y'all, I hope no one ever has to go through something like this, because, man, this shit is harder than any Kratom withdrawal. I think that's why I don't even give a fuck about Kratom. All Kratom does is dampen your progress, or hamper you. through this shit. But for y'all that are going through it and you're on day 3 and you're like, oh my God, I can't take it. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Put on the big boy shorts and just keep trucking, man. You know, like, instead of looking at Kratom as like training wheels to get off of, like, to stave off withdrawal, you gotta be more like, have a hatred of Kratom for what it's putting you through. You know what I'm saying? That obviously we let put us through, because it was all the choice. You know, and that's the other thing. Like, I only got introduced to Kratom because I was introduced to opiates. And so, because I bitched out on having to pay the consequence of slipping with opiates, Kratom was that training wheels crush shit, right? So then you get to Kratom and it's time to jump. There's nothing to take that consequence away, and there shouldn't be. You need the consequence. The consequence is going to keep you off it, you know. So yeah, keep that shit in mind when you're on night 3 and night 4 and night 8. Well, not really night 8. What? The bad nights, I'm trying to remember. The bad nights for me were like night 1 when I would quit. I would actually sleep. It wouldn't be until I woke up, which it would probably be crappy sleep, don't get me wrong. But yeah, night 2 was a night, it was garbage. But like night 3 and 4, they were the toughest for me. And then night 5 would suck, but it wouldn't be as bad as night 4. But again, during the day of day 4, I would actually be semi-decent, you know? Like, my appetite would still be fucked up. Definitely watery eyes. Lethargy, but not crippling. And then, like the anhedonia, and like no joy from anything. But then, after night 5, I remember day 6 would be decent. Like, I would be decent. Not good, not great, but nowhere near what I was the 3 days prior. And then day 7, or night 6 would be a little less than night 5. Sometimes it would be like it's like one of the last ones where it's like you might still get the jokes and shit, but it's not anything as intense. And then it's like easier to get through, because if you can handle a dial of 9, a dial of 5 ain't shit. And then everything after day 7 just gets progressively easier. And then by day 9, that was it. Day 9, 10, that was it. That's pretty much my Kratom timeline. It's pretty much 10 days. And then after 10 days, it's just whatever lingers. But for me, it's like a 10-day thing. Which is weird, because with oxys, it was not. It was like a 5-day thing. But it was a nightmarish 5 days, man. You know? And so because it's such an intense experience, any bit of relief is welcome. Like I've always said, like Kratom, it's not as intense, but it's a steady lingering for a little longer. You know, but I think everyone's goal should be making it a week. You know, pat yourselves on the back if you can make it a week, and I know we all can. You know, and everyone's circumstances are different. But one thing I've learned is it can always be worse. Oh, and then the other thing was, like, now I'll say that for another video. But as of today, you know, I don't really give a fuck about Kratom. As much as I'm pissed at it, I'm pissed at myself too. Because I'm looking at it, I've quit since I've been back in New York. I think I've had like 2 or 3 relapses. It's like, yo, what the fuck? Like, I came, home because, I needed a reset. And instead, all I'm doing is hampering that progress, So that's a wrap. That's a wrap. And but again, circumstances are everything. But just as, the tide goes out, the tide comes in. And again, that's all it is, man. It ebbs and flows. Life isn't going to be a cakewalk all the time. It ain't always going to be roses. It's going to be fucked up, probably most of it, but that's the thing. And that's the thing with Kratom and even with us, dealt with substances like that. It's like, what are we really doing? Like, you're trying to trick yourself. It's like, you're not going to be happy all the time. And you shouldn't be happy all the time. So, yeah. Oh, shit. I didn't know the video was going to be so long. But hope somebody got something out of that, or out of this. Hopefully in a couple days, I'll have something out of this, my damn self. But thanks everybody again, as always, for the comments and checking in on the brother. I'm telling you, forgive me if I don't respond immediately, because again, sometimes I'm just not in the headspace to give a proper response. And I don't want to do anything if I can't do it proper. I don't want to half-ass the shit. But trust me, I see it. I will get to it. And I thank you guys all for the support, man. And I'm telling you, just get a couple days under your belt, get some momentum. That's all you need. That's all you need. It's tough for the first 3 days, I'm telling you. Tough for the first 3, 4, 5 days. But after that, it becomes progressively easier, man. All right, and don't slip. Don't think like, oh, I could just do this once, and I wasn't that bad. Don't do that. Stay on it. You gotta stay on it, especially the further you get, because in the beginning, when you're going through it, there's a point where you hit, and I think it's a week, where it's like, do you really want to throw all that progress away just to feel a little okay? Because you're gonna feel like shit afterwards, and just that it'll snowball. So it's like, it ain't even worth it. But then when you get those 10 days, 14 days, 20 days, 30 days, whatever, then it becomes a lot easier to justify, where you're like, yo, it really wasn't that bad, was it? And it goes back to what I said in the beginning. So, let me shut the fuck up. I'm talking too much. But listen, love y'all. Y'all take care. Holla at y'all soon. Peace.